And as we mentioned earlier, today is the feast of the presentation of our Lord, but it is also World Day for Consecrated Life. The tradition began back in 1997. This year, a Vatican organization sent a letter to consecrated men and women around the world. The message asked them to recall why they answered their vocation call and were willing to make their lives available to others for the good of humanity. Joining us now is Father Dominik Jurczak, Professor of Theology at the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas, also known as the Angelicum. Father Dominik, great to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. Can you tell us, why did St. John Paul II begin World Day for Consecrated Life? And also, do we know why it's on the same day as the Feast of the Presentation of our Lord?
Well, the first and obvious meaning is to see that the consecrated life is connected to the presentation of the Lord. So the Mary who offers her son the most beautiful gift, she presented him, he consecrated him to the Father. Like in the same way, the consecrated people, consecrated life has to give all the best to the Father, to the eternal Father. So like a candle that we bring that day to the church that burns, we are called to give our lives in a deeper, more beautiful way for all those to whom we are, the God sends us. So that's the profound meaning, and that was the idea of John Paul II in 1997.
Yeah, and I understand, consecrated persons aren't to be confused with members of the clergy, that is, those who have received the sacrament of orders. For those who may not understand this, can you explain the difference?
Well, the difference is very clear. The ordained people, they are not immediately consecrated they are not leading the consecrated life. Consecrated life is to live into the chastity, in the poverty and the obedience. So we choose these three, poverty, obedience, and chastity, as the means to be much more conformed as a Christians, much more closer to the Christ and the way the Christ lived in the earth. So that's why we consecrated everything. We give these gifts to God to be much closer to Him, to be much deeper in His love, and to give this love to the others.
And if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit more about the Feast of the Presentation of our Lord and why it really is just so important?
Well, historically speaking, this feast has a beautiful and very widespread meaning. First of all, during the history, this feast was called the Purification of Mary because it was 30 days after the Nativity of Christ. So it was, according to law, each woman was obliged to go to the temple in Jerusalem to purify herself. It was also the day in which the firstborn child was presented to God. So it's another meaning. And during the history, in this feast, we have all these meanings. It's a beautiful feast, like in the liturgy. Very often, we don't have only one meaning, but a sort of different meanings. So to really understand the theological sense, reality, meaning of this feast is to put all these meanings together. So the purification of Mary and the presentation of the Lord, it is not just the question, it is much more Mary feast or much more the feast of the Lord, but they are both too. In the history, also see how many feasts, in how many places, this feast, the presentation of the Lord, has this taste of the Marian feast. So it is nothing contradictory. It is the full meaning of this feast in this day.
And Father, before I let you go, is there anything in particular that you would like our viewers to know about this day that we haven't discussed?
Well, the consecrated life is very important for the Church today. We need the testimony of the consecrated people, their dedication, how to live deeper in love of Christ, how to live deeper in love of God. So this way, through the chastity, through the obedience, through the poverty, is really the testimony which speaks very forth, which speaks very loud for the today's world. So I think it is quite important to see that we need consecrated life, not only the ordained people, but consecrated life dedicated in full sense, in 100% to God. And it is really amazing that we have a lot of people like that, women and men.
Well, Father, thank you so much for your time today and speaking with us. We really appreciate it. Father Dominik Jurczak, Professor of Theology at the Angelicum in Rome. Thank you again, and God bless you.
Thank you, and God bless you.